demand change based on a level of applied faith. Strength grows out of struggle.
Makes sense.
Let me even go back again to the obedient movement and use it for this purpose of engagement, for the fact that we are talking about it. I will assume that you are a member of the obedient movement, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now, your own level of joining or your own level of being involved might be completely different from my own. But until we discuss what we want as a movement, we are separating in two different time zones, well, two different parallels until we talk. But what the movement is supposed to be, or rather what we know it will do, is make sure we get good governance in the end. So we will always push for that one. So we have something in common. We want PO to go in there because we know PO will do something good. That means on the day we'll vote for PO. Don't forget, you're not voting for the party. You're not going to vote for the party. You're voting for PO. You can go and join the party. That's fair enough, But me, I don't have to join the party. But I will still vote for PO on the day. I would, wherever I am, I will come cast my vote for PO. This is who I vote for, right? Now, what that means is that me, you, PO, and other people who understand his factor have an alignment from a civic point of view. That is the truth. We have it from a citizen's point of view. Now, there is no leader in Nigeria up to today that has pushed for the Nigerian citizens to push to better Nigeria. None. Buhari did not. Buhari insulted the youth. Buhari told them they were lazy. The one before that, he didn't really say anything about the youth. Jonathan, he tried to build institutions, but he didn't come out forcefully to say Nigerians have to be. They tried. I won't lie. Jonathan tried, especially with that narrative. Happy people, happy day. They tried to rebrand Nigeria, which I think that wasn't too effective. But before that, you had people who were just there to showcase themselves. Now, if you have a leader that sells Nigeria to the young Nigerian youths, don't forget, if we have to wait to 2027, that is in 3 years' time, a child who is 15 years old now will be 18, will be a full adult. Do you know how many of these children between now and then need orientation to prepare their mind for that voting? That's where you see that we have work to do. A lot of us come into spaces, we have a lot of work to do. There's a lot of orientation to start. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of nation building to start doing because it's not even us now. Even if it's only the amount of people that will turn 18 in 2027, those people can win an election. If you see the amount of people that are going to turn 18 and be eligible to vote, those ones alone can sway the election for anybody. But are they ready? That's another thing. But that's not the job of a politician. That's the civic engagement. That is the citizens that should bring forth those things. The civil rights movement, the civic organization, people with foresight. They are the ones who are supposed to come out now and start preparing. So we have a long way, honestly, for these things to happen. But the key focus is that there is a new version of this thing around the corner. That's where we anchor. That's the vision there. And that's why we believe, because we can see it. It just be like I said, I talk to you now. There's a new version of the Nigeria you want, but that new version you want, it might be different from what I want. But I have my own. You have your own.
Yes,
Sorry?
my own version are just a secular Nigeria focused on innovation and personal empowerment. All this one they build more instead of to define how people go to open personal business and not just like so now why me I dey push for person like Peter Obi wey obviously they think progress, because progress they pay. I don't understand why Nigerian politicians they do like say progress not they pay. Progress they pay. And yes, a person like Peter Obi will bring up. Why me I fully support the man. Like my hood now, I get boys who I carry go train. Now schools just closed. I know they miss the opportunity to pump their head full with Obi politics and let them know how every day the city they affect them. If I want to buy food, they show them safe now before now. Palapata 1.5 don't for this motor, don't they go where they go, but now 5K to full. So I always bring them into the topic at every turn. So yeah, that's my only two contribution from my own hood towards the obedient movement.
Yeah, those small things you are doing within your community, right? If one of those small boys manage to clear now, for instance, maybe they go abroad and they're living their good life, they will remember, that one guy was trying to build a better version for them. They will definitely remember because we all do. When I was small, I used to go to Scout in Payne Primary School for New Benin there, right? And the guy who was our Scout master, one guy, Levinus, I still remember his name, right? What Levinus used to do then, he used to tell us as kids, this is why I know Nigeria, will change. He used to tell us as kids there that we must serve Nigeria. This is way, way back, way, way back. He used to tell us that we must serve Nigeria. It's our duty to serve Nigeria. As young boys, Mr. Levinus will tell you, So imagine you living abroad now, you think about that individual. You have no other choice than to try and figure out what he was thinking about. You have to try and figure out his passion. This is the Peter Obi factor. Because the day Nigerians will sit down, any Nigerian, like Chris said in the last space we said and in the recording, there's no Nigerian that will encounter the message of a new Nigeria as long as that person has patience, that will not change the idea. As long as you have patience, if you have patience to listen to what it's about, you must change. Nothing, you must change unless there's something wrong with you. So that is the essence of, you see Peter Obi personifying the message. If anybody sits down, all these Tinubu, all these criminals, they know that this man is the answer. They know, but they cannot give up what they have stolen. Their criminality, they know that is jail time. If any good system enter, it knows they are going to jail all of them. See South Africa now, did they not imprison their ex-president? All you need is one correct person to enter there, So if you look at what's going on with Pio, the factor that he has brought in is showcasing what we all want, showcasing this right vision so that we can start looking at examples of leadership as well. It's not just him. Even you talking now, right? The man has affected you. You've affected some small boys. Right? Those small boys, by itself, from their behavior, they might affect some other people. But it will all link back to the key thing. What is the message in all this? If they trace the message, they will see that the message is just about vision. It's very simple. But if we don't have this kind of regular conversations, if we don't have these talkings, if we don't have these pitches, if we don't have this engagement, then it will be lost in the wind. Part of the reasons why we started this thing was because a couple of years ago, all this talk we are talking is inside bar, inside, pub. That's where this thing used to happen. And it still happens in Nigeria. When you go to a bar, you sit down for morning to night, you talk about Nigeria, we drink, talk. After 4 hours, everybody goes home with headache. The idea was, why are we talking all this thing with so much value, but we are not amplifying it? You talk here, the only person that will gain insight is probably the barman if he was listening to you, or the bartender. They're the only ones that will be empowered. The rest of us will go home. So we said, you know what, we can take this thing online where we'll talk. It's timeless. You still park it there. If you come back next week and listen to it, chances are you will still be empowered by what you listen to. So using that narrative is part of why the belief is there that this thing is possible. That's what gives vision. Now, my own version of a new Nigeria, yours is for it to be purely secular, which is supposed to be. It is. But mine is for technology to really, really expand Nigeria. That is my own vision for a better Nigeria is technology. Because the day we embrace levels of technology, perfect example, let me give you a heads up. If the people who are 15 years old today, they introduce computer science programming as a compulsory subject for them in it could be SS1, they go there now, right? In SS1, once you finish JS3, from SS1, computer programming is a core subject. Do you know that by 18, Nigeria will have one of the top developers in the world?
Bam.
Certified. Certified. This one is not even a case of, say, Nafim trick. It's logic, right? If you have 1 million Nigerians learning how to code, let's say they learn how to code with Python language. Python is very easy to learn. You start coding in Python at 15. That's JS1 or 2. By the time you're finishing JS3, your programming Python level, they will be looking for your skill already. So you're already able to work remotely, not even in Nigeria. Someone is already ready to pay you. And you don't need to be speaking English to learn how to work. People in India, Chinese who code, they don't sabi speak English. The language there is Python. That's the language. But you need to have a leader with a vision to be able to do that kind of thing. Or you need to have a people that will demand that kind of thing. That's the difference. So Nigeria as a movement, you can have a civil rights educational movement that will demand levels of education. That is one arm. You have a civil rights movement that will demand accountability from religious leaders. That is another arm. You have some that will demand cultural change. These are all small movements that we don't have. My brother, we don't have them. So let's not lie. Because if we get them, things will change, but we don't. You can't rally up 100,000 people now to come and protest for cultural change now. You can't, because everybody will go to his own tent. One will say I'm Isha, one will say I'm Ibini, one will say I'm Ijo, one will say I'm this and that. So you can't. But we will get there. We'll get to a point where you have 100,000 people come out and say, they have to be cultural exchange. We have to know our cultures. This will be their protest. Their protest will be for the government to do more to push for cultural change. That is a civil rights movement. Get towards that particular value stream, And then you have the one that we push for technological revolution. That one we don't have yet.
So is there any ground movement? You get anything to put for ground now towards, because we guys they see in person, we guys they make one or two workout, we guys they cause one or two awareness in person.
But this is it. That's why I say this is the start. This one you're talking about the message. You have to first of all talk about the message. Everything is sequential. You have to talk about the message. It's from the message people will now identify their passion. If I say a new Nigeria is possible, for instance, someone says, what do I mean by that? I will explain what I just explained to you, right? And you might be a lecturer. You will start thinking about that idea. But you might say it's possible. Someone will start thinking about what you said. So that guy wants us to push for secular Nigeria. I know some people that are ready. Oh yeah, that's it. That one will grow. 60 years old Nigeria. How many years are we? 60 odd years. Some
60.
countries that are 200 are still just reaching here. This is what I'm talking about. They've only just started as well. So we're still very young in terms of balancing civic engagement and political engagement and then merging the two. But it must happen because we can see, Another example is when we talk about civic rights, for instance, the rights of an average citizen. The right of a Nigerian citizen based on the constitution, if they implement it right, the Nigerian citizen, let me call a spade, the Nigerian citizen is one of the best citizens in the world. If they implement it right, you have your fundamental rights there. But the fact is, the citizens don't even know these rights, so they cannot challenge it when they are being bastardized. They don't know. If a policeman should slap you, for instance, from a civic point of view, if a policeman should slap you, the whole civic activists, they're supposed to fill that police station and shut it down because they have the power to. Not at the time, they're not causing any fight. Honestly, if a policeman should slap you, that's the truth.
Slap you away because they talk truth. God.
Well, you know why they get away with that? They get away with that because you don't have enough citizens who are aware that is a crime.
Demand change based on a level of applied faith. Strength grows out of struggle.